This guy doesn't like to start. Let's fix that. Whenever you're working on these trucks, if this doesn't work, just, you know, hit the hood a few times. Trust me on that, it does work. But whenever you're doing anything with starters, anything electrical, disconnect the battery. If you get shocked, you won't be very happy about it. One might ask why I'm changing my starter, and my answer, I don't need to say much, do I? It's right there. Once your battery is disconnected, there's two ways you can go about it. Your starter lives down there. My truck is very cluttered, but it lives right there. You can kind of see it. My phone doesn't want to focus on it, but it's right there. Now, your exhaust pipe wouldn't typically be in the way. What you can do is you can get it by going underneath the truck, which we're gonna do. But what else you can technically do is get it out through here. I have not tried this. I am gonna take the tire off so I can get in there easier and remove all the cables. But supposedly you can take the starter out through this hole. I'm not gonna try that because there's an exhaust pipe there. But if you wanna go that route, feel free to do so. It's very important to take your jack for regular walks, otherwise they will get dicey and they'll get hung up on the smallest concrete gap they can. Now your next goal with this is going to be to get the car off the ground. There's a lot of places to do this, but my favorite spot is right there. That skid plate is directly tied into the frame and you can jack up on it. If you don't want to do that, there is two frame rails to that side of the tire and to that side of the tire, both behind, obviously, not in front. There's nothing up here that is a plastic bumper. If we go around to the side here, you can see there's your frame. You can jack up pretty much anywhere on this. I like to go close to these knuckles and these body mounts. All right, that's the knuckle up there. My Ford has the knuckle over here. But before you jack it up, always make sure to untighten those lug nuts on your tire first if you plan on taking it off. You do not have to, it does make the job 10 times easier. Now in theory, you can just get an impact and impact these nuts off with the truck in the air. But with it on the ground, they're gonna come off a lot easier and, you know, it's just gonna save you time. And time is something I don't have a lot of, which is why this is in the wrong format. You are vertical instead of this way. This is the correct way to do it. This is not. You thought I was gonna take that one off. Gotta jack the car up first before we do that. Now if that's done, all you gotta do is take that bugger off. You can use it as a jack stand, or more so as a safety. If that jack stand fails, this is your best lifeline right here. Throw a spare tire or something underneath the car. Also, put wheel blocks on. I don't have any. This is gonna be my wheel block. Put them behind your tires. It's always a good idea. Now, once you get in here, obviously someone butchered the wiring. It was me. Once your iPhone camera decides which camera to use, you're gonna have two 8mm bolts for your positive and negative post. This is where if you haven't disconnected the battery, do it, because if those two things touch without the battery connected, or sorry, with the battery connected, a lot of sparks, a lot of bad things will happen. I know from experience. Now you can definitely get a socket in there and a ratchet, but I got these guys in the way and I got this guy in the way and my hand is only so small, you know? So I'm just gonna go with a wrench. It is a pain in the butt to use a wrench as opposed to a ratchet, and you can buy a 8mm ratcheting wrench. But being a mechanic, I hate myself, so I'm gonna do this with this little guy here. This may vary based on model, but the negative post is a 8mm nut, this tiny little guy, and the positive post is, I don't know yet, I'll get back to you on that. The positive post is a whopping 13mm for some reason. Once you get that nut off, there's a lock washer that goes with it. Try not to lose it. You can just put a new one on there, but better to keep the original one. Saves you money. Now, before we go and remove the old starter, you want to get to know your new starter. I have some weird micro starter because I have a turbo in my engine bay. You probably don't and will not have a starter that looks like this, but the process is going to be very similar. The GM 2.2 engine comes with a couple of bolts that go into the back side here. They're gonna have a nice little, if it would focus, a almost crush rivet looking thread on them. This is to make sure they don't move. The thing I have also came with shims. If your starter has shims on it, you will need to put them back. They're there for a reason, and it's because that didn't engage the first time, so they had to move it. Looking back, I now understand why that's a 13 and that's an 8. You can't mix these up. Your positive will be the one with the 13, or rather battery, and your ignition is going to be the 8mm. What that means, I don't really know. I'm not enough of a mechanic to know. I just know that that one and that one both make that thing spin. And when that spins, that starts working. And we like when that works. The bolts for this new starter are a 14mm head. I'm pretty sure the factory one is too, but I'll let you know if they're not. Once you are under the car, first off, take note of all the oil. That's a lot of oil. Your starter is going to have two main bolts like this. Don't take that out. That is not your starter bolt. That is a transmission brace. But those are two bolts you need right up there. You're going to need an extension of some sort and that 14mm socket, preferably an impact socket. Don't put chrome sockets on impacts. And that's a do as I say, not as I do, because I put chrome sockets on impacts all the time. Your impact socket may be a little too big to fit. You can shave down the socket, or you can commit the ultimate sin and just put a chrome one on there. I'm gonna put a chrome one on there because I don't care. In case you were curious why you don't put a chrome socket on an impact, this is an impact socket. The train is here. Go away! This is an impact socket. Notice how much larger and thicker it is. These are both 12mm. Notice how the chrome socket is half the size. When that explodes on an impact, it's going to be like a hand grenade going off. If this explodes on an impact, then you've done something horrendously wrong. Despite the difference between the chrome and impact sockets, both are just as susceptible to being lost in the 10mm form. As it turns out, that is not a 14, it's probably something in SAE. I'll go find out and tell you. The factory bolts are actually 5/8 sized, so you'll have to get a 5/8 socket for removing them, and whatever your new starter comes with, you'll use that. Mine are, again, 14mm, so I will switch to a 14mm socket when I install the new starter. I am not going to record me taking this out because there's oil everywhere, and the last thing I need is greasy, oily hands all over my phone. I'll show you when it's done. There is one more bolt back there. Do you see it? I didn't. That is an 11mm bolt attached to the back of the starter. You will need to remove it. I'm not going to record myself doing it because my hand looks like this. Hands have been washed. So it turns out you got this guy. He sits on the back of the starter. You're going to have to rip him off. You also have, if your S10 is like mine, a pot of petunias that was dumped into your engine bay. Last but not least, you're going to have that guy. There's a steel bracket that runs the transmission. You do have to remove it. Even after all that, that thing is still stuck in there. It is a pain in the butt. I almost wonder if it's the wrong starter because that engine mount previously didn't have a bolt in it. I had to put a bolt in there when I bought it. And that starter is way too big. It does come out. I don't know if I'll be able to get it out. I'm not going to record that because it is like 90 degrees outside. My phone is overheating. And my back hurts. We'll be back when that's done. Well, it took me way too long, but that thing is out. It's almost like there's a downpipe in my way that's not supposed to be there. Who would have put that there? It was a really good time to compare the difference between a micro starter like this and a standard OEM, I think they're called Delco starters. I mean, if there's any reasoning for that, it's because AC Delco invented that style of starter. Probably wrong, could be the case, I don't know. The big difference here is obviously size. This back half is what was giving me the most trouble taking that starter out. This starter doesn't have that. This uses a much larger electric solenoid, but modern electric starters don't need that big of a solenoid. This also has, instead, an electric engagement instead of magnetic engagement like the old one. This one is controlled by a solenoid. This one is controlled by magnets. Yes, solenoids are technically made of magnets, but they're two different systems. You'll just have to trust me on that. Now this guy, out of here. Shockingly, despite the fact that it's called a micro starter, it's actually a little bit heavier than the old starter. Could be because most of it's actually metal, like steel instead of aluminum. It's also very unstable. This is a bad spot for it. Why don't I have a table out here? The biggest difference with this guy is these two. Obviously we have the same mounting bolts. That's the wrong wrench. These are still a size 13 and a size 8 bolt, but they're in slightly different positions. So before you put your starter in, you should take these bolts off. Just gonna make your life a little bit easier to have them removed. You will notice something else with this starter though. Let me as you can see, these have their own bolts. Don't touch these. Do not put a wrench that you would put on the connection bolt on the stud. That will come out. There's also a note on this that says not to over tighten it. It's just an starter in my mind, but it is technically some kind of specialized high performance racing starter. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, this is not a race car, but that is not supposed to be there. So I think we can have a racing car starter. I did have to modify the part slightly and remove this block of aluminum here, but it should still work fine. I mean, this is just a bracket, and this extra block here would be if I had a different engine. But I don't have a different engine. I only need these bolts, so I'm going to use those bolts. By all technical accounts, that's in there. I just have to figure out what to do with the wires. All those delicious wires. There's many ways to check your starter alignment, but my favorite is doing this. That's not supposed to happen. Once you get that in teens, or 13 millimeters, your impact socket may be a little too big to fit. You can shave down the socket. This isn't. Despite the difference between the chrome, my thing is stuck. I'm stuck under the car.